Okay, just wanted to do a quick update here. First off, as you might be able to see from the background, I'm in a new location, obviously same house. This is a little more removed from the high traffic areas in the house, which means I don't have to have the headphones on as much as I have in the past, which I like greatly. Plus this room is, well, it's our spare room. I mean, I don't know what you can see behind you, but you got our spare room bed behind us, but it's much more normal sized room, shaped room, so the stereo image in the room is actually much better. Partly why, as you can see, I got SSL6 out, and I've created a much more compact area because I don't have as large a desk. In fact, you can see how close my monitors are to where my listening space is now, which is fine. Again, I get an excellent stereo image out of these. I keep calling them NS5s, but I think they're HS5s or something like that. But they look like little baby NS10s, and they sound fine for this environment. I wouldn't mind a little more frequency range. I do have some monitors with a subwoofer that I've thought about using, but I just like these. These are fine. I know how to send a signal through them. People get caught up on frequency response and accuracy and all that. When I used to mix, I still have the same headphones. I use them. I have had those headphones since probably 1993, maybe 1992, and they look like they're that old at this point, but not because they're more accurate, not because they're anything fancy, but because I know how to mix on them. I'm accustomed to the way those speakers are in those headphones, and that's all you got to do. You just got to learn your equipment and learn how to mix on them, and it is really important to listen to whatever you're recording through multiple different types of speakers. I love listening to my mixes through terrible television speakers. That's the ultimate test, if you ask me. If you can get something to sound balanced and or listenable through a crappy speaker like that, you've got a really good mix. But having said that, just quick location and thoughts on getting a good sound. Something I've been doing within the pedal board here, or the pedal desk as I've come to term it. The brothers, I've actually, once I got this knockout, I've made peace with it. Between these two things and the two compressors in the middle, which is what I want to talk about here in a moment, I'm good. I've decided that compression, I've always liked compression after my gain, but it usually raises, because I also like fuzz faces, it usually raises the noise floor too much, so that when I'm doing transient stuff or my little rhythmic stuff, you get that pumping, and oh my God, I hate that, especially when you're looping, whether I'm doing kind of the Frippertronics thing with the Zoya here, which is pretty much what I'm doing right now. I'm actually not using the microcosm for any of that micro looping stuff. Right now, it's actually adding did I delete my loop? Yeah, I don't have a loop right now, but it's adding almost a rhythmic trem or a rhythmic vibrato thing going on in the background with it. It just, I found a setting with the microcosm, and kind of like George L's cables. Don't think about it, don't look at it, don't touch it, don't do anything, otherwise it won't work the same. Not a knock against George L. cables or the microcosm, but if you find a spot on it, you might never find it again. So I just saved it, and I'm hoping I don't even bump a knob, because I don't even want to have to reload the preset in it, because it's working perfect right now. But if I'm stacking loops and I'm doing the rhythmic thing through the compression and the EHX Intelligent Harmony machine, if I have any criticism of it, it's actually a little bit noisy. That noise tends to stack, and in some cases that can actually be kind of a nice lo-fi kind of atmosphere it brings it, but in other cases it's just all I end up hearing is the pulsing of the noise floor. So I've been working with compression. I've decided that I've become too addicted to stacking compression, and I really like the 1176 style into the optical style. Now, I have the compressor that is a hot rodded, modded version of the Ross compressor. And in all honesty, this one probably sounds better than all the compression I have. However, it's also the noisiest. And in this setting, when I'm going direct and I'm doing multiple loops, that noise just piles up too much. I end up, if you can see the knob setting for the blend, which is the bottom knob, I have it almost completely dialed out. And actually, it works pretty good like that, but you're really not bringing in a lot of that Ross compressor kind of tone that you want. Again, not to the point where I'm not going to use this again. Believe me, I'll miss it at some point and put it back on. This thing disappears and reappears at random. I really love this thing, and it's got the actual chip as it's chips from 1979. You can get it for $5 extra at Analog Man. I highly, highly recommend this compressor. There's a lot of different options you can get on it. The only option I got was the blend, because I knew the noise would be an issue. Which brings me to what's on the board right now. So I've been going back and forth. I also have one of the Teletronics LA2A pedals, because again, I'm a sucker for an LA2A. I love optical compression. I had that PC2A for a while, and I never did a review on it. I featured it a lot on my little jams, but I really never reviewed it. If I have any criticism of that compressor, is that it was kind of, I don't want to, I mean, it's tube compressor, tube optical compressor. You would think those two things would turn into 3D sound, but it really didn't turn into 3D sound. It was kind of, I don't want to say muffled, because you compress any tone and you might be able to describe it as muffled, but it didn't have that life in it, I guess, that organic life that you would expect out of a tube optical compressor. The Pedal 76 here, and again, I have worked with 1176s in the studio. It's been a long time now, but I do remember what they sound like. And this one, I kind of like better than the ones I recalled in the studio. This one sounds great. It's a little bit of a big footprint. I mean, you got to really love 1176 to want to commit this kind of real estate to a compressor, but it's worth it to me. And the settings I've settled on, so I got this idea from UA. I had never done this when I was working in the studio, but one way to use a 1176 and an LA2A is you send the 1176 into the LA2A. The 1176, you're at about a 12-to-1 ratio, which is, as you can see, what I'm set at here. And then that stabilizes the signal for the LA2A, which, again, is kind of reactive to the signal coming in, so it kind of makes the LA2A's job easier. And that's a little bit of what I'm doing here. I'm using, I don't know, again, for those of you that like 1176s or think you want an 1176, one of the common settings for an 1176 is what they call the Dr. Pepper settings, which, if I remember right, it's input at noon, attack at 10, release at 2, because the Dr. Pepper marketing used to be noon, 10, and 2 were the best times to have a Dr. Pepper, so they call that the Dr. Pepper settings on 1176s. And forgive me if I'm quoting that wrong, because I never did it when I was in the studio, or if they were doing it, I wasn't aware of it. I was just an assistant engineer, so I'm by no means an expert, but this is kind of what I'm calling the reverse Dr. Pepper settings slash LA2A pairing settings. So I've got the 12-to-1 ratio, but instead of 10 o'clock on the attack, I have 2 o'clock, and instead of 2 o'clock on the release, I have 10 o'clock. And for no other reason other than I just think it sounds better that way with the type of playing I'm doing. And then this is the real one I really want to talk about, because this is kind of an oddball, obscure. So sorry, I'm not accustomed to putting this in front of the camera. The Foxgear Squeeze, okay? They have a whole line of pedals. I've owned 2 of them at this point. They have what they call the Echo Sex Baby, which is an Echo Rec style pedal, which I've since sold because I have other Echo Rec stuff that's just sounded better since then, but it did sound good. But this one right here, this squeeze, they call it a Gilmore-ish optical compressor. For whatever reason, I've been A-Bing stuff like crazy, because by all means, I mean, you could probably find one of these for $30 right now. And as you can see, I have the ratio cranked, and I have the volume cranked, and really, let me grab my guitar here. It's not adding a ton of noise. I do have a noise gate on the Nano Cortex right now, but and I got a lot of crap on right now, but it's not adding a lot of noise or anything. But it's adding that whatever that musicality is. It's not actually an LA2A style or I don't know, maybe there's Dynacomp meets LA2A in this particular pedal. There isn't a lot of info about these around. I don't even remember why I bought this thing. Probably just because it was curious to me, because it says optical compressor, but it says Gilmore-ish. And it's kind of non-committal about what it's emulating, other than maybe David Gilmour's kind of compression tones. But it's like, this is kind of for the ambient slash spacey stuff I do. Like, this is I hate to say it, I've got fancier stuff, as I'm sure you've seen. I even sold my PC2A just because I knew I could always pull this out and be pretty satisfied with it and crank it. The PC2A, if I cranked it like that, it would be just muffled. Now, ultimately, this knockout has solved a lot of my problems too. Solved my problems with the brothers, and it really allows me to shape the tone coming out of these 2 compressors. I don't know if you hear that. I just heard a kitty say hi this morning, but in any case, I just wanted to send a quick shout out to anybody that's doing the ambient stuff and they're considering a compressor that they're going to put after. Now again, I'd probably put these before the gain if I didn't have the fuzz. In fact, at some point I might experiment with putting them between the fuzz and the brothers here, but right now it's after both. Outstanding tone, man. And now that I don't have anything in front of the fuzz, it rolls off much more effectively, you know. It's just the neck pickup. And that's obviously one of the things you wanted a red dot or an NKT for anyway. So there you go. I just wanted to give kind of a quick shout out to Foxgear. I'm not so sure that they're being as successful as they might. Both pedals I've owned from Foxgear have been great, but this one I'm finding like it's kind of a secret weapon in the regards that it's just obscure, it's super cheap, and it actually in this environment, again, this kind of direct ambient environment, like it's the best sounding one I've got, and I can crank it, you know, and make it ridiculous, and it just keeps sounding better. You know, a lot of this stuff you start pushing them to their extremes and they start breaking up and distorting or having resonant peaks either in the high or the low, or even worse off in the mid-range. But there you go, just a quick update on something that I've really decided has earned the real estate on my little pedal desk here. Just being a simple, inexpensive optical compressor, voiced for guitar. And maybe that's the thing that sets it apart, is it's Gilmore-ish. So again, it was designed with a guitarist in mind rather than just compression in mind. That might have been a factor too, but whomever did the sound engineering on this did a great job. I love this thing. So there you go. Quick little tidbit. And new location, which I don't think it'll matter for anybody watching these, but for me in the room here, when I have my monitors on, it sounds much better stereo image. It's very 3D in here, so very cool. All right, there you go. Have a good one.